Kia ora once again to the South Side Kōrero, and today I'm going to have one of those days where, it's just, it's beautiful, I have a beautiful soul right here. Who's my sister? Who's my family? Francesca, please, we had a good episode, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
Yeah. It was not only just felt like an episode, it felt like a catch-up, right?
It was a catch-up.
I know, right? It's like, how long has it been?
And rock down memory lane.
Well, hell yeah. We did some crazy things out there, and you're going to enjoy listening to our crazy things.
Hope so.
No, I hope so too, and I hope you enjoy that episode.
Southside.
Southside.
I'm on the road, it's my time, taking control of my life. I want to run the red lights, I've got to run this show. You always take me.
Hi, friend. I'm gonna start off.
Wow.
It's been a very, very long time. My goodness. You know what? We'll just kick it off just straight. Do you remember how we first met at MIT? So I'm just
Yes
for
and
context. Yes and no. For context, I went to MIT, so Manukau Institute of Technology.
Manukau.
Oh. I'm leaving it in. Yeah, of course. So Manukau Institute of Technology, and so I'm going to give a little bit of background. So between 2016 to 2017, I was job searching constantly, and then what ended up happening was that I signed up for a bachelor's diploma for networking first. And while I was doing that, I was sitting on a table, and I was like, man, I got no one to talk to. And I remember our orientation. I remember this young lady put her hand up, and she goes, there'll be times that I'll be able to bring my kid. Would it be okay if I could bring my kid?
That's right.
And I went, bro, that's hardcore. And I was like, all right.
Which class was that for again? It was
Michael Andrews. So Michael Andrews was the tutor, and it was change in management. Yeah,
Change in project management.
Yeah, change in project management. Yeah, that was our first class. And then on our first day, I basically was like, everyone was split up to groups, right? And then came up like very sheepishly and went, excuse me, can I join your group? And you guys like, whatever, just here.
Honestly, I can't remember that.
Yeah,
Wait, weren't you like sitting in the middle table? And I always pick the middle table.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably as far as I can remember. If you're on the middle table, I'm always on the middle table.
Yeah. And it was you and Naomi.
Yeah.
And then you were like, I was like, can I join you guys? It was like, yeah. And then we became Panacea, right? That was our group.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
But Panacea came later.
All right, Panacea came later. We'll backtrack for you folks. So, what was your first impression when we first met? I was just this very quiet kid going, hi.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I did tell myself I wasn't going to make any friends there after being
Same.
cut off pretty bluntly the years before. But hey, somehow you stuck like glue.
Yeah. And the cool thing about it is that we've been friends for close to 5 years now. If you think about it.
16 or 17 or 18?
17. No, yeah, 17.
18, 19, 20, 21, 22.
6 years?
6 years.
Yeah. And it's almost our anniversary too, because we almost met up like around that time around July, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
It's not going to be far away.
Yeah. Could you tell our beautiful viewers about your start at MIT? Because you're done basically the jack of all trades when it comes to.
I'm still waiting to get Gus's job. No, I've just always liked being around people and helping people. So it started off with something small as helping out with the business and digital technology orientations.
Yeah.
And then just latched on to anything that had free food.
Yeah, no, I'll just quickly jump on that tangent. Francesca is the best in terms of getting free food.
Or free stuff.
If you're going to have a best friend who can do that, utilize that, honestly,
I don't even like most of the stuff I get. I just like the thrill of getting free and passing it on to the next person.
And I always remember back in my tattoo room. So my tattoo room is our hang up. Me and Jay were talking about that on our previous episode. We would be sitting there, and all of a sudden we'd just see this very colorful person with a big tray of food, and like, "Vane, come and help me." And I'm like, "All right."
Where did you get this from? Oh. It's here now.
Oh no! It was normally I went down to level 1. I went down to the ground floor, and they were having a celebration, and I jumped in, and I went to go.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah, and I was just like talking to them, and I took food, and they're like, "Oh, take more food." Oh, it was freaking great.
Wrong person to say, take it all.
Yeah, I know, right? So we talk about our time at level 7, so our diploma, right? So our bachelor's diploma. How was it like doing that sort of thing, doing those classes? Was it difficult for you at the beginning to do those?
It was quite difficult because there were papers that I shouldn't have done that I did do. So I wasn't done in the correct order, but hey, my C's got me my degree.
No, absolutely. And I'm very proud of you, to be honest. Very, very proud of you when I saw you cross that line, getting your level 6 and then your level 7 afterwards. And me and Jay were talking about, our industry projects and whatnot.
Yeah.
What was the challenges that you crossed when you did those, when you did the industry project?
It was more so extending our, capabilities of helping the students further, but also trying to narrow it down on what they need to do within 2 minutes so we can get through the people that are coming through.
Yeah. Well,
And then if it's just them, then just spending more time with them.
Could you give us an example of what you mean?
A lot of the times it was people wanting to change their passwords.
because for industry project to give some context, you did help desk, right? Yeah. So what was in task you were looking after a whole 10,000 plus students, right?
Yeah, so students would just come down to ground level and there'd be a sign saying IT support and would be there from 9 o'clock to 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah, and that's not a paid role because it's all no.
But I really loved it.
Yeah, so
I get to help people, and I was using bits of my degree.
Yeah, I know, right? That was cool because I honestly never used help desk before, but I went there and we were just chilling, and I remember there was a lady who was in her 50s, and you were helping her out with her laptop, and she was trying to get used to it and whatnot, and I was like. But you were so good to these people.
I try my best.
I know you had your days where you're like,
screw this.
I was just I want to get. I guess I wanted to go into the next part of my conversation about from that whole talk was that you're known as the most colorful person at MIT.
Yeah, and it keeps getting bolder every year.
No, absolutely. Could you explain that about the myth and legend of Francesca the Colorful?
So it started in 2013, where that was my very bad year, and wiped the slate clean and thought, no, I'm going to do what I want to do. So each year the clothes have just been getting bolder and more colourful as I try and find places to buy them from. And yeah, I've noticed it because I take a photo with Monty the monkey at Westfield every year, and it just gets bolder and bolder.
No, I absolutely love it. And Will behind the camera is, before he was a podcast extraordinaire, he was a photographer for MIT. And I
used to jump in wherever I could.
Yep, he's nodding at the moment. It's like, there you go, there's the nod. And I remembered, do you remember the time that we did the orientation video clip?
Is that the one where I crouched down and welcome to MIT Orientation 20...
No, that's the second video clip. So the first video clip. It's our place, it's your place. And they've... It's a very...
I can't remember.
It's Ayla going, welcome to MIT. So Ayla was...
Oh, yes. Was it the one where we did our little bits where we talked around the whole campus.
Yeah.
And then it was put together.
So context is that me and Francesca was part of the student council. Will, at the back of the right camera, was doing video clips for orientation that year. And he was like, oh, let's go grab all our student council members and let them do the introduction to the video clip. So hence the reason why it's our place, it's your place. Yeah. I don't know if you remember, he zooms into my face and he catches me going,
Oh, yes. Yes, I remember that. That was a running joke for a good while.
no, it was. I was there for a whole year. So again, context. He films it that 1 year, right? And then he puts it for every orientation. They've used it for 2 years until they finally made a new orientation clip. And then COVID happened. And now it's become the default. So every time, so like you're like, you're Francesca because they know you by the colors. They point me and going, you're the eyebrows guy. Could you explain to our beautiful viewers that time where you snuck into one of our ITP summits? Yeah, you weren't part of the main group, but you're like, oh, I'll pay for the flights to go to. So ITP Summit is the hugest summit.
Oh, yes.
Is for all of our polytechnics out of New Zealand. And what ended up happening was that we selected only council members. Fran, I don't know how.
Had other plans.
And she has the charisma of a politician and just went, I'll pay for my tickets.
Yeah, I paid for my own stuff and still turned up.
Yeah, it was cool, man. How did you manage to do that? It's still beyond me. I was just like...
It's not like they could have banned me. And I'd already paid for it.
Do you remember any good memories from those trips that we did for Wellington?
Other than the food? Meeting people?
Yeah. What sort of people did you meet out there?
Like-minded people.
Yeah. Because you made a lot of friends, if you can remember some of them, for our beautiful viewers to picture our beautiful friends out there.
Yeah, too many, but I'm sure if I was to run into them, I'd probably forget their names, but I'd still go, oi.
Didn't you have like a 6 square with a group of friends during that IT summit?
A 6 square.
So 6 square, I mean, so 4 square.
Yes.
Do you want to explain that story?
So went out wandering late at night and then found some group of people that were playing like 6 square, then it ended up being 9 square. Yeah, it was cool. So, and this was like 12 o'clock at night.
Yeah, I know, right? It was like so again, viewers, it's handball. If you know, it's 4 square, but they extended it like
just
big,
kept
right?
adding squares, the more people that wanted to play.
Yeah, and that was during the ITP summit, if you remember. Yeah,
and that was on Cuba Street.
Yeah, that was huge.
That was cool.
That was fun. Now, do you remember your big push for our big push for car parking? Do you remember that?
Was that the vans to go from campus to campus? Yeah, how it got shut down?
Yeah, well, I'm only going through all the stuff that we've done so far, and I remember there was this time you had the clipboard during our orientation. So this is
yes. So
our second year, right? Remember that?
Yeah. So getting people to sign that. Was it a petition?
It was a petition, yeah.
Petition to, if they're not going to extend on the car parks at Manukau campus, then and they want them to catch public transport,
that's right,
which is not quite feasible for a lot of students.
No, that's right.
Have the ability to park at Otara campus and then run charter buses from Otara to Manukau campus,
because they had bigger facility, right, for parking. And I remember, so for context, MIT's medical campus parking is small as heck.
Yeah,
it was tiny, and we wanted to travel between the two campuses. So we suggested this.
Yeah,
and then fast forward now, I remember you were in a group with trying to push for AT Hop to do something about transport for students. Could you further explain something like that? If you can remember.
So I'm just going by the current one that I'm thinking, which is the free transport.
That's right.
Okay, so I'm still on that group.
Yeah.
So it's called Fares Free Aotearoa. So it's trying to get free public transport for everyone Aotearoa-wide. And first we're starting off with total mobility users, under 25s and I think single parents. Yeah. But yeah, that's our number one is, for now, is total mobility, have all of them free on board. We're still running 50% off, which
remember.
is good.
Yeah, that's a cool
I
thing.
think it's till the end of April.
If I remember correctly, the last poster I saw was at the end of June.
Oh, even better.
Yeah. So if you're out there in public transport, half price tickets is still good.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's definitely helped.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember that you're transporting everywhere in public transport. There's never a time that that we don't use public transport, but we were on public transport for so long.
Yeah.
So speaking of public transport, I remember you were a dedicated member of the ITP Auckland group, and you had a seat on their council. Could you explain to our viewers what that seat is and what ITP group is and what they do? So
ITP Aotearoa is IT Professionals New Zealand. Yeah. So that's just a collective of anyone that's IT savvy or wants to be in the know of IT. They all meet together within their own regions, and sometimes we'll have national get-togethers. So how I got onto that was very strange, because in Michael Andrews' class we were doing a paper, and he showed a book, and that person was speaking that night, and so I convinced him and like 10 other students to quickly sign up, and then bus all the way out to town and sit in on the session.
I remember this, yeah.
And then, a couple of the council members had a talk, and I was inducted that night.
Yeah, I remember that too. And then it was a long process of you rallying up a whole bunch of students, right, to go into these meetings.
Yeah.
How difficult was it to get IT students to go to those events?
Not very hard.
Yeah.
Just tell them, $10 for the year, you get free booze and food.
I remember that you said that to me, and I was like, you had me at food.
Yeah, just tell them what I would like to hear.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And then...
But also, too, tell them that they get more experience out of being around like-minded people. And, if you go in a year or two before your last year, then that's enough time for them to scope you out, and you work up the chance to go up to them and say, oh, I've got a project coming up soon, could I do it with your company?
That's right, yeah.
But that was really the sole purpose, was to have them mix and mingle with these big timers, and when it's time for the call, pull on that string and, make things happen.
So coming from South Auckland, how did it feel as a South Auckland student sitting among like these awesome people who are helping others to get into the IT industry? Because I must have felt
pretty boss.
Yeah.
Come in there with my ruthlessness, and then,
Because you were friends with Paul. So, again, Paul's the chairman of...
Oh, yes.
Back in the days was the chairman of ITP.
Yeah.
You were friends with him, right?
Yeah.
How was he like when you was like, oh, now you got the student seat? How was it? How did it feel when you were working on that seat?
Felt pretty good, because I always came from a student perspective, and they understood that, and they definitely didn't take that. What is? I lost my train of thought.
No, you're right.
What was I saying?
You were talking about being on the student seat with ITP.
On the student seat.
And
Oh yes, I'll just tell them the problems from a student's perspective.
Yeah.
And they ran with it.
And
in which I would hope they would.
yeah, because again, if you think about it, it's from a unique standpoint. You're not from the usual place that IT goes to, right?
And I was their first student to be on the board.
Right? You're a founding member of that studency? Damn. I
Was
thought
their
they
first
already had.
No, they hadn't had a student hub.
What? No way. No, legit, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And then who has anyone else taken over that seat?
Oh, yeah. There's now a few students up there on the Auckland board.
Yeah. And
And I think they're now running a student council
whoa, look at you.
because Mario was part of that.
Yeah.
And I pushed him forward for that too.
Yeah. So again, context. Mario's our good friend from MIT, from IT and whatnot, and he's a beautiful soul. If you ever get to see him, he's such an awesome soul. Speaking of an awesome soul, I remember you and Naomi did a geekathon. It was something.
There's so many thons that we've done.
No, hackathon. Can you explain to our viewers what a hackathon is?
So a hackathon is a company will give a problem that they've got, and then there are however many groups, and they have to try and suss out, I guess a good effective way of solving the problem.
And what was your problem? Because it could have, honestly, it would have went worldwide if you had this actually,
Is this the car parking one?
Yeah. Are you allowed to say anything? Or
I'm going to say it anyway, even if they do say, no, you can't say it. Well, I came up with the idea first. You didn't put my name down. Okay, so what it was we went to various groups, and this one that we went to was for disability people.
Yeah.
And they were trying to come up with an idea on how to stop people that don't have the disability cards from parking in there. And so my thought was, well, maybe we'll just put in some kind of infrared chip into the disability card. With the parking, have a connector where it reads by infrared in the ground of the car park. Yeah. And then when it goes over, it takes, I don't know, however long it is to find that connection, and it won't make a noise. But if it doesn't get that connection within a certain amount of time, it's going to make some noise.
Yeah, so it's just,
and it's going to last long enough until you leave.
Yeah, I was thinking that. So it will deter them off from being in that car park, so that person who does need it can go use it. Is that right?
Yeah, so that was my idea.
Oh.
And then when I saw it printed, I didn't see any kind of credit. I would have been happy to say, Francesca from Auckland, helped come up with this idea. And then now this group is going to run with it. Nope.
No, yeah.
So I caught them up about it and said, what's up?
Yeah? What happened?
And still they didn't say what's up.
Wow. They do you dirty, right?
Yeah. So I've held back on my ideas now.
Fair enough. And it would have been huge. And I could see it.
Yeah, because they actually ran tests on it outside of Auckland.
Yeah.
I can't remember which city.
That's right. So they run actual...
They had run actual tests, but they would have modified it to however they wanted it.
They lost. They would have lost the best salesman, honestly.
Oh, well.
So, coming up with you and your idea and it being taken away, I know along your journey you came up with some struggles. So, with those sort of struggles, was it hard for you to balance your work life and study life? Because let's wind back the clock back around last year's, and you were working with council, and then you were, if I'm trying to remember correctly, you were working with Ask Me as well.
No.
Oh, right.
I was working with disability.
Yes.
Yeah.
So could you tell us how difficult was it when you're trying to balance study life and your work life?
Well, I wasn't studying last year because of a mishap. I went through them under the bus. But yes, I just started working full-time and just trying to pull jobs wherever I can. And then it's hard when trying to find jobs to slot in between certain places and try and fit it around the kids. Because I've found quite lately I've been prioritising work over them, so I've found where I've got gaps in my calendar to just leave them as they are and play with the kids. Yeah, so I enjoyed my weekend just before with Cherokee, and we did nothing, but I loved it. Something I'd missed for about a month. Yeah, just trying to find jobs. That's all I've been doing.
And that's
And now that we're back at studies.
Yeah. And that's the whole dynamic with if we look back at our current situation with our families here in South Auckland, is that we don't have enough time.
No.
And time is precious for all of us, And when we do have time, we take as much as we can. And I remember there was a time when you were struggling with studies, and it was like around 2019.
Yeah.
And you were trying to get that balanced life. And I'm going to say right now, I'm very proud of you that you found a way for yourself to slowly build your balance.
Yeah. Now that you say that, yeah, looking back, I am very proud of myself.
Yeah, you've come a long way, honestly.
Yes. I don't give myself enough credit for that.
No,
I should.
Honestly, viewers, and Francesca's the most humblest person in the world. She won't take.
No, I'm not. I will take credit when it's due.
when you're being silly, but honestly, when your hard work is like showing out and display out for people to have a look, and that's like when you're rallying students, going, "Hurry up, move!" doing orientation work and whatnot, to like even just doing the simplest things of representing nurses and social workers out,
I just love helping people.
Yeah.
I never thought I would say that.
And helping.
Quite the selfish person, but
Yeah.
I'm a very open person.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And again, you can always find you because you're the most colourful person in the room.
Yeah.
That's both outside and inside.
I know.
So, as we're wrapping up to our episode of this podcast, is there a quote or inspirational speech that you got in the back of your head that you always remember that you want to share to our lovely viewers that are listening?
I've always loved this quote ever since I was younger, and it's by Eleanor R. Roosevelt, President Roosevelt's wife, and it's, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent." Yeah.
Yeah.
So meaning, if someone says you ugly, either you take that and you believe you're ugly, or you throw that back and say, you're the one that's ugly. Because I didn't give you permission to say that to me. I'm flicking it right back.
I had to learn that the hard way, and what I mean by the hard way is that I'm a sidetrack a little bit, and it's this beautiful soul right here. Yeah. If you remember 2 episodes ago, this beautiful soul right here saved my life. So.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
So this is the beautiful soul that saved my life, and I'm going to continue on to share my goodwill with everyone, thanks to you. So,
oh, good.
Thank you just once again.
Just don't do it again, eh?
Yeah, no.
I'll beat you up.
Don't. But once again, thank you so much for watching this episode. Again, I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as everyone else has.